This is the story of Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, Part 4 of 5. Now, where we left off at the end of Part 3, the hero had traveled far back in the distant past to the unsundered world. Accompanied by Hythlodaeus and Emet-Selch, he entered Elpis in search of Hermes. Let's get started. The hero finds Hermes observing some fish in a pool and meets a strange blue humanoid creature accompanying him.
You and me. We're alike. Friends. I want to be...
She pauses.
Can you hear me?
She speaks to him telepathically and asks to be friends, but just then, Hythlodaeus and Emet-Selch approach.
Ah, I see you found him.
Hythlodaeus. It's been a while. Too long, I think. You were of the convocation.
Emet-Selch at your service. Do I have the honor of addressing Hermes, chief overseer of Elpis?
The strange blue girl appears to be infatuated with the hero.
Her name is Meteion. It means shooting star. She's a pet project of mine, still undergoing preliminary testing.
Emet-Selch wants to sit and discuss important matters, and Hermes agrees to it.
I shall join you as soon as I've returned these creatures to their homes.
One of the mutant fish is missing, but Hythlodaeus spots it up a tree.
You're saying they can climb, with their sorry excuses for limbs?
Whether they can come down safely, however. Excuse me.
The hero and Hermes recover the lost fish creature. The group finds a room to meet and discuss convocation matters. Emet-Selch tells the hero to leave, but Hermes allows him to stay.
Fandaniel's declared his intention to step down, and named you as his preferred successor.
Hermes has been offered Fandaniel's seat at the convocation. Hermes knows him well and knew this was coming, but he's upset about Fandaniel stepping down to begin with, as it means he will return to the star.
Return to the star? Does that mean... die?
Hythlodaeus talks about the lifeblood of Eithrys, the cycle of life, and every soul's duty to make the world better.
It's just... I cannot fathom why someone so great and wise, who could still do so much good, would want to end it all.
Meteion is upset by this conversation, so Hermes asks the hero to take her outside. Outside, they speak with various researchers and learn that Elpis is a facility where new creatures are created and thoroughly tested. If found suitable for life, they are released into the world. A moment later, Meteion speaks to the hero telepathically again. She explains that she has the power to feel the emotions around her, and she can project her emotions to others as well. She needs this ability because her mission requires her to communicate with varied intelligent life forms with different languages. She then says she's fascinated with the hero. Returning to the others, they find the meeting over, and that Hermes hasn't decided on anything yet, so the other two are going to stay a while and observe his work.
Amazing, is it not? The Ampelos, one of our newest subjects.
The hero spots Elpis flowers nearby, and he and Meteion approach them.
Entelekis! Like me!
They are a product of Elpis, and so named for their birthplace.
Hermes explains they react to an energy which differs from ether. The hero asks Hermes if this is Akasha, the energy that Nidhana once described. He says they call it Dynamis, but it sounds like the same thing. Then he says Entelekis are entities that interact with Dynamis, converting emotions into tangible phenomena.
That's me! That's me! An Enteleki!
That you are, my dear. And no ordinary one at that, but the first possessed of free will.
Hermes explains that Dynamis is difficult to study because ether completely drowns it out, so beings of ether, such as themselves, are unable to easily detect or make use of it. Emet-Selch asks why he studies it if we can't use it, and he says it's the predominant energy of the cosmos outside Eithrys. Hythlodaeus remarks that it makes sense now why Meteion's ether is so thin, and Hermes remarks that since the hero's ether is thin, he may be able to interact with Dynamis. Hermes pauses to check on a nearby creature, then the group goes to observe the Charybdis. The researchers, studying the flying Charybdis, say they will have to scrap them because the offspring cannot fly. Hermes wishes to try and teach them to fly instead. While Emet-Selch is out of earshot, Hythlodaeus mentions that Emet-Selch himself can fly, and he believes the hero can convince him to do it.
No, no, no. You are not foisting this nonsense on me.
Hermes presses him.
And so I appeal to your better nature, most benevolent Emet-Selch. Please teach her to fly.
Altruism is its own reward, as I'm sure he would agree.
Oh, would he now? And who contrived to put me in this position, pray tell?
Emet-Selch finally agrees to do it, while Hythlodaeus and the hero watch nearby. Hythlodaeus tells the hero that Emet-Selch excels at many things and he has extraordinary powers, but Hythlodaeus himself only possesses exceptional perception and nothing more. He again marvels at how the color of the hero's soul is so similar to that of Asm's. Just then, Emet-Selch and Hermes succeed and the Charybdis learns to fly. Hermes thanks Emet-Selch for the help, then tells his fellow researchers to let them live and continue observing them. Moments later, the group observes a slaughtered creature and learns that a Lycaon killed it. They speak to Doros, the one responsible for the Lycaons. They discuss solutions, and at one point he mentions that they can wipe out its memories and test it in a new environment. Emet-Selch is concerned about the fact that they have the ability to wipe memories, but Hermes says they are very restricted with it and only Hermes himself is authorized to use it. He abhors memory manipulation, but prefers it over execution. The others have no problem with making and unmaking creatures at their whim, as this is their job. Meteion is saddened by the conversation. The hero takes her to look for flowers and they find more Elpis flowers. She mentions that they are always white and bright for everyone else, but the hero mentions he has seen them go dark in his presence as he has experienced loss. She wants Hermes to see this and the hero agrees to help, so they return to wait for him. Once Hermes is available, they take him to the nearby Elpis flowers.
Go on.
The hero ponders his sorrows and the flowers change.
You're not the only one, Hermes. Others feel sad too. You're not alone.
Hermes takes his mask off.
May we talk a moment?
He explains that they create and kill creatures without a second thought, yet every creature fears its death and it's not beautiful as Hythlodaeus says it is. He's enraged by the contrary nature of living in a blissful paradise where innocent creatures must be slaughtered regularly, but comforted that he's not the only one who's felt suffering. He ponders the lives of those in the cosmos beyond Eithrys.
What is it that gives their lives meaning? That drives them day after day after day?
So he has created Meteion and many sisters, and their mission is to explore the cosmos.
Traveling to one star and then the next in search of life.
He says he cannot wait for their return, since so far he hasn't heard anything. They then decide it's time for bed. The next morning, the hero volunteers to help with the remaining Lycaons.
Wherever your souls may drift in the underworld, may you find tranquil seas.
Painfully, he releases the creature to die. Then Emet-Selch approaches.
Join the convocation, Hermes.
Hermes is still disturbed by death and his search for meaning, and he has doubts about fulfilling the role of Fandaniel.
And to be torn by such thoughts. I do not know if I am fit to represent mankind.
Meteion is getting upset and Hermes needs more time.
'Tis no trouble at all. Take as long as you require.
Hermes and Meteion depart, so the hero, Hythlodaeus, and Emet-Selch take the time to explore the other parts of Elpis. In one area, they are attacked by a walking shark, but someone drops from the sky and one-shots it.
That was too close. Are you unharmed? Well now, if it isn't a pair of familiar faces.
Venat, that we should meet you here.
The hero is stunned, realizing this woman is somehow Hydaelyn, as he met her face-to-face on the boat to Sharlayan. Emet-Selch explains she is one of the rare few retired convocation members who chose not to return to the star.
Even after stepping down, she carries on with her work. Venat is her name, and she is the previous Asm.
The ancients spend a moment catching up through casual conversation. Then Venat looks to the hero and says something very startling.
I say, have you perchance come from the future? I do not believe we have ever met, yet I sense my magic upon you.
She goes on to say that this enchantment, which the hero calls the Blessing of Light, without a doubt comes from her, even though she knows she hasn't done it yet. Emet-Selch says the idea is absurd, but she says she's positive he's from the future, and she turns back to him.
Are you unable to speak of the matter?
The hero recalls Elpis' instructions that he cannot prevent the final days, or else he'll cease to exist, so he tells Venat he cannot risk influencing their history.
That you should go to such great lengths as to travel unto the past bespeaks the gravity of your quest.
If this is true, then you've been keeping quite the secret to yourself.
The hero agrees to divulge more in a private location.
We were meant to meet. I am certain of it.
They grab a room and the hero prepares to speak.
Now then, Will you tell us your tale?
He tells them everything, from the first final days all the way up to him being sent here to find the root cause. There's a moment of silence, but Emet-Selch breaks it.
Preposterous. Utterly preposterous.
While not the words I would have chosen, I too have my doubts. Much of it borders on the incredulous.
Supposing it is all true, I must ask myself why I would do what I did.
Venat is amazed that she would go so far as to oppose the convocation. Then she wonders why she told him the Elpis flower would be his guide, and why this place would be of significance.
This is quite a puzzle, and we do not have all the pieces.
Venat ponders becoming Hydaelyn in the future.
Listen to yourself. Are you seriously entertaining the notion that you are a messianic figure in some far-fetched tale?
Emet-Selch gets upset and ends up leaving. The hero posits the theory that Dynamis is the key to solving this mystery.
And you say Hermes researched the phenomenon in the course of creating Meteion? Yes, I believe this warrants further investigation.
She agrees to aid the hero and says she believes Emet-Selch will join them in time as well. They start by asking around to see what people know about Hermes and his work. They hear of a scholar who witnessed something odd, so they seek her out. Venat and the hero pause for a moment while the witness is preoccupied, and Hydaelyn explains why she has not returned to the star. She has endless love for the people of the world, and they are always in need of help.
They are my meaning, and my purpose, my love. And so long as they need help, I cannot return to the star.
The witness, Galen, approaches after a moment.
Now then, I'm told you wished to ask me some questions.
Venat asks about the host of Meteions, and Galen says it was like a series of shooting stars, but all were going up into the sky.
And who should I spy on an isle to the south but Hermes and Meteion, the Meteia, rather?
She says she asked Hermes about it, and he said he couldn't reveal anything yet, but he's at the island often lately.
Thank you for taking the time to indulge our curiosity.
You're very welcome.
Venat summons her golden dog Argos, to the amazement of the hero, but Argos, in his distant past, has not yet met the hero and refuses to help him. Venat says the hero can prove his worth in a friendly duel, so the hero agrees to fight. The hero faces Venat one-on-one, and she proves to be a very challenging foe, but he holds his own, and she is impressed.
'Tis plain you have weathered considerable hardship. Far more even than your tales would suggest.
Argos now trusts the hero and makes a copy of himself.
He never forgets his favorites, and is ever eager to come to their aid.
They fly to the island together. Venat explains that memories are etched upon the ether of the world, and she has the ability to peer into the recent past on the island.
But come, let us try. Close your eyes.
In the vision of the past, Meteion holds a remote connection with a shared consciousness of her sisters, and they report that all is well. She and Hermes dream of what awaits them in the universe.
I wonder what answers we will get.
He has no idea what he will learn, but can't wait for the incredible findings to arrive and to share them with everyone.
Perhaps then our star will become a better place. Not only for man, but for all life.
He tells her they will hold a celebration when they return.
Will there be apples? Covered in syrup?
Returning from the vision, the hero and Venat can't see how he would want to end all life.
I propose that we reveal your tale to Hermes himself.
They regroup with Emet-Selch and Hythlodaeus, and realizing that Hermes is the only person who understands Dynamis, they agree to bring him into the fold.
I understand there is a matter you wish to discuss.
The hero tells everything once again. Hermes is despondent after hearing of all the loss and suffering, and that somehow he's the one to blame.
I must stress that we do not believe you would desire such destruction. We come not to lodge accusations, but to beg your wisdom.
He begins to lend his expertise and compares the two distinct final days.
Of note is the difference in its effect. In the first final days, it warped creation magics. In the second, it warped the people themselves.
He explains that in the future, sundered people are composed of a fraction of their ether, and thus could be more manipulated by Dynamis, but that still doesn't explain the source. He says Dynamis must have a source. It does not spawn from nothing.
Someone, or something, is instigating the star's demise.
Hermes explains that since the first manifestations occur where the celestial ether is weakest, the source is likely beyond Eithrys. Just then, Meteion receives a signal from her sisters.
Greetings. Can you hear me? Connection established. Commencing status report. So scared. So lonely. The pain. It's too much. This is wrong. All wrong.
Hythlodaeus cannot sense her, but the hero still hears her telepathy, and this is just enough to eventually track her down.
Please, Meteion. We must speak.
Trapped, she begs the hero to protect them, then reconnects to the shared consciousness.
Our survey is complete. We shall now report our findings.
She gives a series of devastating reports.
Enna. Traces of civilization found. Structures believed to have served as domiciles. No extant life forms detected. Dio. Ruined remnants of buildings scattered across Star, surface of which is encased in ice. Presence of life could not be verified.
She goes on and on.
They are all dead.
Emet-Selch asks what meaning she will derive when every life form she investigates is silent. She continues to name off dead stars endlessly. Hermes says he will not turn a blind eye to the truth, even if pain is the truth. He transforms and stands defiant in protection of her.
You cannot take Meteion. Not until she has finished her report.
Hermes takes her away to a facility called Ktisis Hyperboreia.
You fool!
The hero and the ancients fight their way through the facility, which is filled with violent creations, and confront Hermes.
I have no wish to fight, but this time, I cannot yield.
He stands defiant, and a fight ensues. After a lengthy battle, Hermes loses.
It's over, Hermes. In the name of the Convocation, I hereby take Meteion into custody.
Hermes turns to Meteion with a burning question.
Was there happiness in those distant stars? Was there a reason for living?
She continues to recite an endless list of failed civilizations.
Disillusioned, they gave up on the future and themselves.
In the course of which they learned the truth. That they would never be free of fear and sorrow, anger and despair, of loneliness, so long as they yet lived.
There is no need to struggle in vain, for in nihility awaits salvation. You will know peace and serenity, and it will be beautiful.
Meteion then says she will make a nest at the edge of the universe, from which they will hoard all sorrow and suffering, and use it to sing the Song of Oblivion.
Who are you to decide our fate? To decree we live or die?
Hermes binds the heroes in magic chains.
In my authority as Chief Overseer of Elpis, I will make a judgment on man's fitness to exist. If he can learn to value all life and retain his will to live, even should his end be justified, he will surely find a way to avert his demise.
Then he calls forth a massive arcane device called Kairos.
Command, universal memory alteration. Target area, Ktisis Hyperboreia.
He commands it to reset the memories of all present, of everything that occurred since they arrived in Elpis, and replace it with a vague recollection as specified, that they were here for a demonstration of Kairos, but Meteion became unstable and burst, and in the process triggered this device which damaged their memories. While the device prepares to execute, Venat breaks free.
This ends here!
Fly, Meteion!
That is far enough, Hermes!
Argos, to me!
No matter what, you cannot forget what happened today. For it is the key to saving your future. Your world.
As Meteion escapes, Venat places an enchantment on her. She summons Argos, and she and the hero escape.
Even now, I do not believe your tale. I would not suffer us to walk such a wretched path. Still, if it must be said, do not squander it. The legacy I leave you.
Kairos completes his work, erasing the memories of those present. The hero and Venat recover outside.
Are we the only ones left who see beauty in the world? In life? Are the stars above no more than husks of fallen civilizations?
Venat then explains that the enchantment she placed on Meteion will allow them to follow her trail. They send Argos back to Ktisis Hyperboreia to eavesdrop on the others.
We will share in his consciousness and see and hear as if we were with him.
The dog listens as they emerge and complain about their memories being a blur after the accident, so the manipulation appears to have worked. Hythlodaeus mentions that their memories will be restored when they return to the star.
I doubt aught of interest occurred. Look forward to the revelation if you like, but I should prefer to reminisce on more meaningful moments.
Restored, the hero speaks with Venat, and she says no matter what, they cannot interfere with the chain of events they know is coming.
With Meteion free to pursue her designs, 'tis only a matter of time until the final days are upon us. We shall silence the song of oblivion.
They say their goodbyes, and the hero enters the portal he arrived in. While traveling, he witnesses the first final days, the summoning of Zodiark, and Venat opposing the convocation. He awakens in the first, in the present. The hero returns to the Baldessian Annex, but before he can tell his story, Kryl says he's needed immediately in Garlemald. The Sharlayan Forum has a vessel to take people to the moon, but they decided to use the teleporter in the Tower of Babel instead. Masses of refugees have been escorted towards the tower, but the final days have struck there now too, and the situation is dire.
Calm yourselves! Your panic is our greatest enemy! Wait, that's... Eulus and the army. So, you've recovered then? We can speak of it more later. For now, we must fight! For Garlemald has her pride! I won't let a madman's apocalypse ruin everything we've fought to achieve!
The Warrior of Light arrives.
I've had enough of this rabble! Come on!
Join us on our journey there, and beyond to new horizons. Come to old Sharlayan. Please.
The twins approach just as more beasts manifest nearby.
Behind you! Just there! Xenos! Here!
Oh, for the love of... You cannot still be on about a rematch.
That is, and has ever been, my sole concern.
Garlemald is in ruins. Our homeland, the nation you rule, is as good as gone. While we who survived with our lives and minds intact were left to freeze to death. You slaughtered your countrymen! You did! For what?
For nothing, in the end. So much wasted effort.
You bastard!
Alphinaud advises him not to succumb to rage, while Xenos mocks those that cling to morals or greater purposes. Alysei says he will always remain alone so long as he only thinks of himself. Xenos leaves and Fortunal approaches. Fortunal says they're leaving soon and there is room for them if they wish to join. They are touched and they decide to accompany him, including Ulyss. They stop by Camp Broken Glass, and Fortunal personally apologizes to Lucia for the chaos. Lucia says he did the right thing and also asks Ulyss to arm his men and join them.
You'll permit us to retain our weapons?
I wouldn't have sent you after the Scions were I expecting you to stab them in the back.
He agrees to help, then Alphinaud asks his father what his plan is.
I will request that the Forum make you privy to our plans.
Just then, they hear something.
Dawn may banish even the darkest night.
Urianger and the Loporrits approach, and they're here to help. Fortunal meets his distant collaborators for the first time.
You'd be a member of the Forum, would you? It's an honor and a pleasure to meet you at last.
Fortunal agrees to take them to Sharlayan and show them their vessel. The Scions regroup at the Baldessian Annex, and the hero is finally able to recount all that happened on his journey to the First and to Elpis. There is a lot to process, but Estinian says it's simple, they just need to defeat Meteion, and Y'shtola says they can find her if they can find Hydaelyn, since she placed an enchantment on her to track her. How to reach Hydaelyn and how to travel to Meteion remain unsolved, but just then they get a knock inviting them to join the Forum.
If I may have your attention, the ad hoc session will now commence.
The Forum agrees to answer any questions they have as much as they are able. The Scions find that the vessel they've built is not fast enough and needs work.
We shall help devise a means to improve the Aetherburner's efficiency, on 2 conditions.
His conditions are that they are allowed to meet Hydaelyn and that they use the vessel for another purpose. The Forum is shocked that Alphinaud deduced that they have a means of communicating with Hydaelyn, then Meteion laughs.
Oh, we couldn't have asked for a finer plan. Allow us to solve this complex engineering problem of which we were entirely unaware until moments ago. What could possibly go wrong? The satire writes itself. Yet, what field has not benefited from a change in perspective?
Amazingly, the Forum votes in their favor. Fortunal voted against it, but submits to the will of the Forum. On the way to the vessel, aka the Ark, Fortunal introduces the heroes to the engineer responsible for the Aetherburner, which powers the Ark. He expresses his frustration that the burner needs to be 6% more efficient to meet their targets.
A measly 6%, you say? But if I could have squeezed even another 0.6 out of it, don't you think I'd have built it that way in the first place?
The engineer mentions an ancient elegant alloy, which rings a bell for Grahatia.
As I recall, the record stated it was vital to Dalaman's construction and launch.
Ain't a living soul that knows how to make it, though.
Bits of it can be found scattered in Allagan ruins or shards of Dalamud, so Alphinaud says he can call all the friends they've made. In Ul'dah, the Sultana calls for action.
Ul'dah will answer that call. We will summon our courage and join the fight for our world's future.
In Gridania, companies led by Arun, Cinna, and Lys join together to enlist their effort. In Ktisis, Manalaine and Artwell visit Lord Horshaphant's grave, but a dragon cries out to them. In the Far East, Hancock enlists the help of the Confederates to join the cause. While waiting for the alloys to arrive, the hero escorts the Loporrits around so they can observe the engineering marvels at Labyrinthos. And part 4 ends there. If you want to see what happens next, check out my video on the story of Endwalker part 5. See you next time.